Alasdair, hello.
Sam, hello. Welcome to Season 2 Eve in terms of like weekly release schedules.
It's the Wholala Eve for Season 2.
It's the Wholala Eve of Season 2. Big moment.
How are you?
God, anticipation is flowing through me. I haven't been sleeping right. I've been shaking.
I can't think of anything but who.
Can't think of anything else. Just trying to take my mind off it, and it's all I can say. It's just...
It's just, you know that clip of the Vivian Monet where it's like, hi, I'm Boo. And she's like, ah! That's who with who?
In the night, just...
It's who?
Who? It's me every night.
Exactly.
Doctor Who? Literally Doctor Who.
This is just going to be an episode of impressions.
It is, but I'm excited. I feel like the Doctor Who hype for me keeps building. Mm-hmm. Like, I love Doctor Who. I'll always love Doctor Who. I'll always watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They will never stop me watching Doctor Who.
They can try.
They can try. And they will. Over at Disney. But I was actually thinking the other day, what are my red lines? Like, when would I start watching Doctor Who? Mm. And I think what it would be is the Amazon Prime adaptation where Chris Pratt is the Doctor.
No, it's did you see on April Fool's, everyone's showing, they said Amazon Prime are rebooting Doctor Who with Harry Styles.
And also like stylized DR Who. Like,
yeah.
That's my red line.
Yeah, no. I don't know what made me stop watching it indefinitely. I've definitely like had more of like an up and down viewing than you have in my life, but there has never been a period in my life where Doctor Who like hasn't existed.
Yeah.
For me to like actually draw a red line under and be like, done with the show.
You know what? I've had enough.
Never.
I can't even imagine.
I don't think there would be a world.
It would have to become like a different... It would have
Tri-generation?
Tri-generation?
It's the 5 Doctors, but instead of like past generations, there just becomes 5 new ones.
All coming out of each other. It's like, can you pull? And then it's like, can you...
Push!
Can you bop it? Can you...
Twist it.
Can you... Just more.
You like worms?
Yeah, you like worms. Oh, Belle, grow another one. And all of them get their own show. So we now get, we get 5 Doctor Who's.
We get Doctor Who, Dr Who,
DR Who, Nurse Who.
Doctor what?
Pardon?
Say it again.
Say it again.
You just go, physician, say it again.
Physician, what?
ChatGPT when? Wait, what's the online service that you go on? There's the app.
WebMD.
No, it's that the app, like the NHS app, where you're meant to go for non-emergencies.
Oh, like 111. No.
What is it? It's something. They'll know.
They'll know. Oh my god!
It's like ask first or something.
I've never heard of that.
I don't know.
I should be using that. I did bother 111 recently.
I don't think you're bothering them. I think that's kind of why they exist.
That's why they exist. You're so right. Yeah. You're so right. We should prioritize our health. So scrap that story. It's also not an interesting story. I just rang them and went through a very long process of sitting in A&E for many hours.
Do you know what I always have with that is that you'll call 111 and you get through to the reception person and they're like, great, well, a doctor will call you within like 3 to 6 hours.
The biggest line.
And I'm like, it's 11 p.m. And they're like, yeah. And if you don't answer,
keep your phone on, babe.
You clearly don't need it.
You're out the queue. Or you died. So good luck to you.
So Doctor Who.
Whew, Doctor Who. I'm really excited. I just feel like we know what to expect this time.
This is my big thing. I think, and I did enjoy the last season, but a lot of what I found it difficult is that I went into it with expectations I'd had from RTD1 and then I didn't always get what I thought I was going to get. So whether or not it was good, it's different. And you know me, I don't like change. So, I don't. Whereas with this season, I think because I know the tone of season 1 and from what I've seen of the trailers, I kind of feel like I know what I'm getting myself in for. So I'm more excited in a way because I feel like I know what I'm going to expect. Yeah. Not like spoiler-wise, just like tone-wise.
Yes, I feel like I know what I'm in for now. I feel like I'm ready for a continuation of season 1. Mm-hmm. And I'm also like ready to accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
As well. Like, I think there's something just about enjoying it for what it is right now without worrying too much about all the speculation around like the future of the show and what happens next. And just soaking up what it is now.
Yeah. Got to live in the moment.
Before any potential gap.
But we will talk about it.
But trust. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I'm excited to get into it. So obviously we're going to a brand new season. We're off the back of season 1 of Doctor Who. Everyone's called, Series 14, Series 50. Would you call it season 1, season 2, or series 14, series 15?
Well, I'm politely using the preferred terminology of season 1, season 2
pronouns.
because I respect that. But it's
That was a bit.
but it feels to me like it's a continuation of New Who. Like someone said this recently about the Radio Times covers, that like ultimately, if you put all the kind of New Who Doctors 2005 to 2022 on a series of covers, and then you leave Ncuti off that
would feel weird.
no one differentiates, like, oh, because it's a different era. Like it's the same era to people, I think, in their minds. Like it's all one. I'm not sure why they went so hard on that whole
I think just like soft reboot, new audience. But either way, we've got a continuation of last season's story.
We do, yeah.
And we've got 8 brand new episodes. We've got, let's see if we can remember them all. We've got The Robot Revolution.
Yeah.
Lux.
Yes.
The Well.
Yeah. Well.
Lucky Day. The Story in the Machine.
I'm like looking at it.
We do have it in the distance. I'm just trying not to look at it.
Nearly there. The Story and the
Story in the Engine.
Yeah.
Story in the Engine. The Interstellar Song Contest. I'm fully looking at the list now. Wish World and The Reality War.
You had a really good go at that.
I feel like for a season that hasn't come out yet, I was on a good roll.
You did very, very well.
Thank you very much.
Have you got one that you're already more
excited for? I'm really excited for Lux. I think that looks really sick. That's the Alan Cumming cartoon one. I think that, as we've already seen from the trailers and stuff, they are doing things with Doctor Who they've not done before.
Yeah.
The animated sequence, I'm really excited to see how that plays out. Alan Cummings is a great actor. I'm glad that he's back in the Whoniverse in this role.
Yeah.
We don't really know anything about that character, so I'm excited to find out about that. What are you excited for?
If I say all of it, it's a bit cheap. I think I'm really excited for The Well because it's giving me very ooky spooky vibes. It makes me think Satan Pit.
It's like Base Under Siege.
Base Under Siege.
Yeah.
And I'm quite ready for... I really want them to go big on the fear factor. Season 1 for me wasn't terribly scary.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for this one, with maybe the exception of Wild Blue Yonder, but is that part of season 1? It's a special.
It's a special. No. I was looking at recently, Josh has, when the original series 1 2005 came out in the Radio Times, they had like a little booklet about like, here's what you can expect. He kept his, which is a gag. So I was looking through that the other day and the cover literally says, it's a quote from Russell, something like, I can't wait to get it scary, or like, let's get the kids scared or something. The whole thing was like pushing fear.
Make kids scared again.
Make kids scared again. And I do think that there is an element of that was missing from the last season, whereas it does seem like that is more in the trailers and such for this season. Yeah.
I think when we go back and watch episodes, I'm always shocked by how dark and how scary a lot of them are.
Right?
We said this with the series 3 finale, like the whole concept of think back now, Toclophane. And like future humans who are so desperate for survival that they seal themselves in essentially like a bit of like a cyber conversion. Like they put their heads in these orbs where they have kind of a mishmash, they have a memory of being a human, but they're also this other thing now, and they've like regressed into being kids.
And the thing that they did it to themselves.
They did it to themselves because there was nothing else. Like they were up against like the darkness. And then the Master sends them back in time, creates a paradox where they like relish in slaughtering humans who are their ancestors.
It's really dark.
It's crazy.
It's really dark. This, I think, is something that I want from season 2. So I think the way that we were kind of talking about doing this episode of Wholala is we say about like what we predict will happen and what we would like to happen.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing that we're agreeing on is that I would like to lean more into the fear and the ooky and the spooky.
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited for a unit story as well because I feel like, so we know that the big unit story is going to be Lucky Day.
Yeah.
That'll be Ruby Sunday, who seems to now work for UNIT, I guess.
Sure.
Why not? Good for you. Get that employment.
They love child labour.
She is at least, what is she, 19, 20?
Now she'll be 19. She had just turned 18 in Ruby Road.
It's funny that actually everyone blasting Sutek was... We had Colonel Ibrahim, who was, I was like, how old is he? Let me not be impolite.
He's probably like 30s.
30s, yeah. Sure. We have Kate. I'm not going to comment on her age.
That's her business. And I'm staying out of that. And then we had Lenny Rush's character. He's 13. He's 13, sure. And then Rose is what, 16? Yeah.
Sure. So,
children.
In that group, about half are not 18. Who else was shooting?
Bonnie Langford wasn't there, was she? She was somewhere else.
Susan was somewhere else.
Susan was somewhere else. They were just unit stuff, like general unit staff. They were in the corners like... There were guns from the ceiling.
Oh my God. And the guns, the way that was Rose's one job. She was on her iPad.
I fully thought she was playing Candy Crush.
Mum, come pick me up. The god of death has just appeared.
Yeah.
But don't tell your bestie because that'll create a paradox. So don't tell him, but also help. What was I saying? I don't know. It's
interesting having so many children working for UNIT. Yeah. But I want, if we're going to have the kids there, let's scare them.
That was it. UNIT. I am excited to see a proper episode with UNIT that I think is going to be probably Dr. Light, because we don't get to see very much of UNIT without the Doctor. And so often UNIT has to kind of make a series of blunders that require the Doctor to come in so that they can be a little bit out of their depth.
Yeah.
I would love this to be something that UNIT can resolve partly on their own. But the more I think about what I've seen of this episode already, it gives the impression that UNIT is going to once again succumb and fall to the alien threat, and that the Doctor will have to step in and help.
I don't know. So I agree. So we're talking about episode 4.
Yes.
And from what we can see from trailers and stuff, it looks like it's going to be very Ruby focused. And with that, probably quite Dr. Light.
Yeah.
I don't know where and how or what the Doctor will be involved. But the way that I see it is that similar to 73 yards. Because I feel like if I have to like mirror this to an episode in the other season, this is the 73 yards of the season. And I think the conclusion and the resolution will come through Ruby and her boyfriend, I guess. I don't know. Question mark? I don't know.
He could be a villain.
He could be. It's interesting. He was very good in The Little Mermaid. I saw him in that. That's the only thing I've actually seen him in.
He was in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, he's Prince Eric. He didn't sing that song. He sang the song they wrote for Harry Styles.
Aliens are.
Allegedly.
I wanna see aliens invading.
Walking around on those, what do you call them? Little green men.
Martians.
Not bloody Martian. Do you want to see Donna back?
Do I want to see Donna back?
Her daughter's there. Well, we don't know if she's in this season, but...
I do. And it's nice that she's part of this world now. There's such a clear link now, I guess, between Donna and her daughter being
Donna
part of
works
UNIT.
at UNIT. No, Donna works
she was
there.
offered the job.
She took it. She made them up the salary.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be
She works from home.
I'd be really surprised if she was in this series. It's not impossible, though.
It could be... okay, this is one thing that I am certain of.
I will say, she accepted the job before the bi-generation took place, and now she lives with 14 and settled down. So she can't live...
Give my daughter work experience.
She can't tell 14 anything about the job.
No, that's true.
I don't think she works at UNIT on that basis.
She might not. I don't know. I think one thing we know for sure about this season is that they've showed us a lot less than we think we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think when we see interviews with Varada and Ncuti where they're trying their hardest not to say something they should, and they're like... I don't know what I can say.
There was that one with Ncuti. He literally was like, I don't know what I can say. And I was like, maybe.
But this is my point. And like, they keep alluding to the fact that there are some really big reveals in this season. Yeah. There are some really big gags. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think I probably would be surprised. But like, if we get a little cameo of a Donna, I think it would make sense.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Rose.
Rose. Like, how are we getting Rose back?
How are we getting Martha back?
There's 3 questions in every season, and there's only 3 that matter, and it's how we're getting back Rose, how we're getting back Martha, and how we're getting back Clara. And
Amy's just like... Well,
Amy's like... she's
my drag, I guess.
She's dead. So I'm sorry. She had a great run. She had a really,
great
run.
time.
Karen Gillan. Wonderful work. I love your work. But Raggedy Man, goodbye. You know?
Karen Gillan, you get 3 big booms. Boom! 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 Does anybody get that? No? Okay.
That one's for you, Karen.
Thank you.
But yeah, I don't know. I think, so it looks like there's a lot of like reality bending. I don't want to, I'm nervous that they're going to do like a bit of a, a multiverse nod at the end of the season, but they could pull it off well.
One thing that I struggled with season 1 that I am curious to see what they're doing in season 2 is I feel, and you and me have talked about this before on the pod and off, is that the finale didn't necessarily feel earned in the respect that, like, when you compare it to, say, The Stolen Earth, and you've had 4 seasons Doctor Who leading up to this, you've had 2 spin-off shows, they all interweave together, and then the Daleks are threatening to destroy everything. They're like, we are going to kill all life in the universe. Yeah. And they don't actually do it, they get stopped. And it felt like in series 1 of their reboot to be like...
Thank God.
Thank God. In series 1 of their reboot to be like, you know what we're going to do? Kill everyone. Everyone's dead. Literally, there's like 3 people left and one of them's Mel and she's already a skull. So, like, to then go into the reality war, I hope that in a way the stakes are less, which I feel like they'll want to up the stakes, as they go on.
Good luck. Good luck.
But because like I don't want it to just be another case of like, oh my God, everything's going to die, because as soon as you do that, you're like, okay, well, we know it's not.
I fear that will probably be it. I think it will be all realities in danger. Every universe could fail and die, and this is the stakes.
I want to know what the stakes are. I don't necessarily want to meet them,
We noticed a bit of a theme in RTD finales when we went back.
Not that thing.
It made me think of that other clip, another one that was like, if series 1 was resolved like season 1, and he's like, Rose is like, can't we use the heart of the time to say, oh yes, Rose Tyler, you're a genius. He's
plugs it all in.
The bike pump and it's anyway, the end. There's a bit of a theme in RTD finales, which is that he likes to use the reset button, make things really bad, and then magic reset.
And the thing is, there's often a reset button that you didn't know was there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Oh, and there is a name for that convention. I'll say it wrong, so
it's called The Legend of Ruby Sunday.
Is it a Deus Ex Machina?
I don't know. Because it's like the opposite of Schlesing's gun? Not Schlesing's. Chekhov's gun. That was it. Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, it's a Deus Ex Machina, the opposite of a
Ex Machina
of a Schleusler's gun, right? Like, yeah, you're right.
My film degree went to good use.
An actual degree, imagine. I love the quality of media literacy and commentation that's happening right now. This is good.
Welcome to our Doctor Who podcast.
Not off topic though. The reaction to the Superman trailer the other day absolutely sent me through the roof.
I'm not gonna lie, I've not seen the trailer yet.
Looks absolutely fine, by the way. Looks funny.
I think that'll be good. I was going to say James Cameron. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, but good for her.
James
Gunn. I think James Gunn movies are really good. I've enjoyed Guardians. I've enjoyed the Suicide Squad 2 was good. I enjoyed the teaser. I thought it looked really funny. But there's a level at which people, particularly on Twitter, and they've been roundly mocked for it, but just receive things at a very intense and literal level. There's a moment where like Superman's very injured. He calls Superdog and
Crypto puts some respect on his name.
Sorry, he calls Crypto, and the joke is Crypto comes charging towards him, fails to recognize that he's injured, and is kind of like playing with him. So he's like, but he's a Superdog, so he's like basically like he's jumping on him and beating him up, and he's like, ooh. And it's funny, and people are like, I don't understand, like why would Crypto be beating him up? Why would he be doing that? He's like, my dog can tell when I'm hurt. He doesn't do that.
My dog wouldn't do that.
And it's like, oh.
Well, let me tell you this, mister. It's not real.
It's not real. And then they take him inside his, ice palace, and they, not the name, and they, it's his.
Let it
go. And they start healing him using like the power of the sun. And,
that's not very realistic.
Well, apparently that's his, I didn't even know this was one of his powers. It's a Superman thing, he can be healed by the sun. And he's like, as he's getting like kind of like snapped back into shape, and people being like, people getting angry about, why is the sun hurting him? And it was like, because it hurts to have your bones snap back into place. But it's just this level at which people would like break down every second of that teaser and find fault with, receiving content in this very literal way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Doctor Who. No, but Doctor Who fans do that. Like, I find that online, and do you know what I've really enjoyed? Sorry to X, actually, I'm not sorry at all, but I've really enjoyed the Doctor Who fans that have migrated to Blue Sky. I know that it's not got the biggest following, but the people who have migrated over, like, do...
Are they thinking a little harder about...
Well, maybe just like 2 seconds before they press post, but like...
Right.
They like...
That's longer. That's
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there's just more of like a general conversation over there as opposed to Twitter, where people just like immediately react to things, and what their tweets are is what their immediate reaction is, as opposed to, and I'm not trying to say we all have to think about like well thought out, deep, meaningful posts, but like there is a clear difference between what you see on like an X tweet and a Blue Sky post.
There's also like an element, I think, when we're talking about like predictions for a series, we get teasers and trailers, and it's a bit of like why don't we wait and see? Like, why don't we wait and see? I think there was a clip that came out, I think from Lux, and it was a very similar shot deliberately, obviously, of
the Devil's Cord.
Yeah, it was like a Devil's Cord moment. They go in through one tunnel in the TARDIS and they come back out another and they've got dressed. And it looks great again. But it's clearly a
callback.
It's a callback. And it's
that's
also,
fine.
I would imagine, I could be wrong, and like maybe this is a place for like, you know, a valid criticism. I would imagine it's also going to help us explore how that relationship is in some ways similar to how it was with Ruby and in some ways different. And how does it feel different doing those same beats with a different person?
Yeah.
But people were just saying, he's reusing the same ideas again.
It really shocked me that because so many people genuinely didn't seem to get that it was a reference. And they're like, that's so lazy.
It's
like,
wait,
story writing.
Guys, wait, I've spotted something.
Literally, and I'm like, I clearly don't have the biggest film literacy, as we have discovered.
No, I guess not.
But like, it's just so clearly a callback to something they
gun.
did. Schlossinger's gun, exactly. Chekhov's theory.
I keep saying Chekhov's theory.
But it is a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
One thing that I hope with Wholala is that we can kind of foster a space where people can say their opinions, whether they're negative or positive. I want anyone to feel like they have to be like, everything is great all the time.
Yeah. I love the show always. Every moment, every beat has been good.
But also, I want to hold space for people to just want to have fun with the show.
I'm holding space.
Yeah. Because it's a silly show. It's the best show in the world, and it's also the worst show in the world.
Ridiculous show.
And nothing should be taken too seriously. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
And so when we're diving into our thoughts and whatever, like, yeah, sometimes we'll be like, whatever. But also, I'm just here to have fun.
I love the way that you're like lent yourself gently towards Vanessa Hudgens, kind of like,
people are gonna die. It's terrible, but
inevitable.
People are gonna tweet, and that's terrible, but inevitable.
People are gonna tweet, and that's terrible, but
inevitable. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now.
Me in like episode 120 something of our podcast. Like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
What episode are we on?
Episode 1, 2, 3.
That's ridiculous. 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
let's celebrate that. Okay.
So I want to go in sort of episode by episode and talk about our like prediction series. And again, I will clarify, spoiler free. We're not going to be talking about leaks.
No.
We're not going to be talking about set filming. We are going to be talking about things that we think could happen, things that we would like to happen, and things that have been officially released. So behind the scenes videos, posts, radio times, trailers, that kind of stuff.
But no set photos, no Reddits, you know.
No leaks.
I think a lot of these leaks are false, by the way.
Yeah,
but even then, I don't want to dive into those.
I don't know.
Okay, fantastic. So, 1, Robot Revolution.
So this is clearly the episode where we get the introduction to Belinda.
Yeah.
And we'd been promised before that we will, I don't think it'll be in this episode, but we will find out the link between her and her character from Boom. And in one of the trailers, we had that bit in the TARDIS where they had her character from Boom on the screen.
Yeah.
It was very sort of Clara-esque. To be honest, it was a bit Ruby-esque.
I thought that moment of like the picture of Belinda on the screen, it felt to me like that was for the trailer clip.
No,
like,
I think that's going to be in the episode.
Real?
You know, when the Doctor was like scanning Ruby and the 11th Doctor was like, Clara, the mystery girl. Like, I think it'll be that.
I was thinking about the clip today.
Yeah.
You know, like an enigma wrapped in a
wrapped in a skirt that's a bit too tight.
Too tight. Ooh, shook myself out of that. Oh, bloody hell. Awful line. Awful.
It's really bad. So this is clearly the episode we get introduced to Belinda.
Yeah.
I think that we'll obviously get those robots. The robots to me look a little bit Sarah Jane Adventures, I'm not going to lie.
They do, and not in a way that I hate. I thought they got the design of some robots in Doctor Who that I loved was in Series 7A, they had dinosaurs on a spaceship.
Oh, I like that.
And they had those like
rusty, dusty.
Hey, I love a rusty dusty. I love a bit of texture on my robots. Yeah. Even like Daleks, I think they've never looked better than they did in the Day of the Doctor in the Time War when they were dusty, cakey, and they looked metal. Mm-hmm. Dusty, cakey, me with makeup. But they were great. Like, they look fantastic. And Mitchell and Webb played the voices.
They did.
And that was quite good.
It's giving me the robots from, I was going to say The Day the Earth Stood Still. That's not right. But it was kind of right. The one where Rani and Clyde are the only humans on planet Earth.
Oh, yeah. And they also look a bit like the robots in like the King Hydroflax episode.
Yeah, I see that. I think they're a bit shiny.
There's kind of one robot in Doctor Who.
And it's that. Yeah.
And the Blinks.
Yeah.
There was a bit of discussion about whether the laser shots looked a bit Dalek.
So there's the shot in the trailer of somebody, I think, getting exterminated. And I don't know if it's from the episode and I don't know if it is a Dalek. It probably isn't.
No.
I remember I think it was Doctor Who magazine last year before season 1, they said, oh, we're excited because we're redesigning the Daleks. And they obviously weren't in that season. So I'm hoping they are. My big hope for the season is we get Daleks.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be in episode 1, but it did really look like someone got hit with a laser and then they kind of like slow-mo fell down and you could see their skeleton. It looked like an updated Extermination.
Yes, it did.
It really did.
Which is funny because it's updated, but I actually like really prefer some of the earlier effects anyway. Not that this is necessarily an Extermination effect.
I don't know.
But I think, yes, there was someone in Doctor Who Mag who I think said they were really excited. They wanted to design the Daleks. They were like, that's what I'm excited for, is to redesign the Daleks. I don't know if they said like, I am redesigning the Daleks and I'm looking forward to it.
Don't take anything I say as gospel.
But, yes, we didn't get them in season 1. Season 2 does feel like a really nice place to put some Daleks.
I know. I kind of, especially with an 8-episode series, I wouldn't want them episode 1. I'd want them in a 2-parter. And it seems to me the only 2-parter we're getting is the final 2 episodes.
Yeah.
If the reality war, especially after like series 4 reality bomb, I'm not saying bring back the reality bomb, but like if it turned into a 2-parter Dalek story, I'd be very happy.
If they, like the Daleks are, it kind of makes sense, reconfiguring reality to like a version of events where the Doctor always loses.
Yeah.
And they always win. Or something like that. I don't see it for the Daleks as a Dalek plot. It feels like that would be a Mrs. Flood reveal plot. Yeah. Though I have no clue who Mrs. Flood is. I don't think anyone really knows. No. I think people have kind of like said, the Rani question mark?
I mean, I'd love it to be the Rani, but I've also heard lots about rights. Like people don't have, I think like...
People don't have rights?
People don't have rights. But like the Rani,
oh my God,
Omega, K9, like I hear that like in the same way they're always fighting for the Daleks, like certain characters are owned by the people that made them, and I don't think the BBC hold all of the rights. Disney don't hold any rights.
They'll have locked that down by now. You write the Doctor Who, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I would love it to be the Rani, but as you all like podcast know, I've been harping on for the like bring Rani back train since day dot.
Yeah.
So I think especially it'll be really fun to bring the Rani back. I know we were going to do episode by episode, but we're jumping around a bit. Mel's going to be in the finale, and Mel's met the Rani, and remember the Rani impersonated Mel and like took her identity. If we did get the Rani back, it would be really fun to have that with Mel in a similar way to when Davros came back and Sarah Jane was there and she'd had that engagement before. I think that's really fun.
That is quite fun. That said, having watched now episodes with the Rani in them, there's nothing so far about the character of Mrs. Flood that makes me think at all that this is the Rani.
No,
except for waiting for a big reveal and Rani being a bit of an anagram of rain, and it being rain equals flood equals...
I mean, Melody Pond River Song, that kind of tie has happened before.
Yeah.
But the way you said that now, I'm like, I could actually see that.
I can
when
just
it rains,
see
them. It pours, and when it pours, it floods.
No.
You never thought of my name? Anagram.
Anagram. Oh my God, there's another screen. It's the way the Sutek reveal. Like,
it's not an anagram.
They had to change the letters.
It's just not an anagram.
It was like Sutek Doctor. I was like, okay,
fine.
Sure, your name's Susan Triad. It was like Sutek, but a tech company. Tim Cook, Doctor. I am T Cook.
It's me,
it's
Steve Jobs.
Oh my God, stop.
Oh my God.
Steve-Jo.
So episode 2, Lux. This one, I feel like we actually have got quite a lot of content for it out.
Yes. They've done the reveal about the like turning 3D.
Yeah.
Which looks fantastic.
They're turning 2D.
Really cool. Oh yeah, sorry, they are. They're turning 2D. And then the 2D character played by Alan Cummings
comes into the real world.
Becomes real.
Yeah.
So we think this is set in 50s Miami.
Yeah.
And the character here, Alan Cummings, playing Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Mr.
Ring-a-Ding. There was a really cool poster. You know, like at the beginning of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, you get the like card with like the Warner Brothers, like the cartoon. There was, I think it was in Doctor Who magazine, they released, I think with the most recent issue, there were 2 like cards. One of them was a ticket for Belinda Chandler on like some kind of train, I think. And I guess that's to do with the first episode. And the other one was like, so-and-so presents Mr. Ring-a-Ding. And it was like a printout of what that looks like. I don't know if we'll see it in the episode or not, but that was very cool.
It looks, I regret that I didn't get the suggestion of Doctor Who mag now, because I'm like, it looks really good. And there's a few nice collectibles in that. Yes, I'm excited for this one. I'm nervous about this one too, because it feels like it's one that's going to dabble a bit more in the kind of like breaking the rules a little bit of what Doctor Who can do, what it's done before.
Yeah.
playing with the fourth wall, playing with the format. There was a bit of speculation about like, is the Doctor gonna become aware of being a character in a show?
See, that I don't mind them playing with the rules of Doctor Who when it links to a certain character. So in the same way with Jinx, with the whole big and song dance at the end, I don't mind that because I'm very aware that that is linked to the God of Music.
Yeah.
And if they're going to pull the Doctor and Belinda into this TV show and take them on this whole adventure, I don't necessarily mind that in the context of this monster is doing it to them. I personally wouldn't like, and I know that the rumour mill has been pointing towards, like, is the Doctor going to become aware that they're in a TV show?
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that personally because I just don't think it needs that. I think we're in this fancy world Doctor Who. This is the Doctor. They are in the TARDIS. They're travelling across all time and space, whatever. And that's the world they live in.
It's a bit too meta, isn't it?
It's a little too, like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience.
Unless
for me,
they do it in a way that makes it like, for the purpose of that story, the Doctor becomes part of a TV show.
That's fine. Like a Truman Show.
But not the Doctor is aware suddenly of being not real.
I think if we lived in the time of today where there's, like, leaks and plots and whatever, I think if we had heard about the bad wolf storyline from series 1, we'd have thought saying like, oh my god, the Doctor's going up in Big Brother. Oh my god, Rose is going to be in The Weakest Link. Oh my god, Jack's going to be in an episode of Trinity and Susanna. We'd all be like, oh my god, that doesn't work. That's silly. That's down. Like, I don't like that. But like when you see it in context, obviously it does.
It's
so like
TV gold.
If they are going to go in that direction, I have faith that it will turn out fine.
Yeah.
The Well.
What do we know? Okay, so we know that it's taking place in the future, on a planet where in the trailer they said they'd never heard of the planet Earth. So they look human, but they could be either very distant humans or another species
or
altogether.
just humanoid.
It looks scary. I think RTD said it's going to be
It seems like we're getting Base Under Siege.
We are. And we've got a couple of actors who are appearing in this one. We've got Rose Ailing Ellis is appearing in this one, and Christopher Chung is appearing in this one as well.
So this one, to get into like speculation town, again, we're going to avoid leaks and whatever because you can't take anything gospel, but that's not what this is about. The rumour mill.
Oh yeah, but
for good reason. Something for good reason. We're getting something midnight related,
and the reason for that is that they did these series of like title reveals, and on one of them for The Well, this kind of door slides shut. But just before it does, you see a digital clock in the background, and it turns from 23:59 to midnight.
Yeah, door closes. We have a trailer where the Doctor says to Belinda, like, I've seen something, I've never been so scared in my whole life. And with that and the teaser and all this, people are like putting together that maybe we're getting something midnighty.
Yeah.
Would you be excited to see a sequel to Midnight?
I've got no issues with it. I think some people think that these things are quite sacred and should never be touched, and it works because it's like we'll never know what it was. Yeah. And maybe we still don't. Like maybe we're still left in the dark with like a lot of like we don't know what this is and we don't know how to fight it, and they get out by the skin of their teeth type situation. And who's to say that even is what it is? But would I welcome it? Yeah, if it's good.
For me, I was really excited when I watched Wild Blue Yonder because I think, I see episodes very separately. So, like, people say, oh my goodness, the Weeping Angels are so much worse because they keep coming back. Like, Blink is ruined because they keep coming back. I'm like, no, Blink is great. Like, Blink is its own thing. And if you want to ignore everything that came after it or just add it onto lore, for me, when they add more lore to something, that makes me enjoy it more. I don't get detracted from that. So, I really like Wild Blue Yonder because to me, look at that as a spiritual sequel to Midnight where I can imagine, okay, say that the monster is like mirroring speech. What would it do next? Mirror your image. And that's very much like what the no things in the Wild Beyond do. Yeah. And we still don't really get an explanation as to who they are. And for me, if that was officially like the sequel to Midnight, I'd be fine with that. I'm like, great. So I loved Midnight. I think it's one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever. And I'm excited if that is, like we said, we don't know, the direction they go in to see what happens.
Yeah. If it's a good story, it's a good story. I don't think it needs to take away from Midnight. I don't think it needs to undermine it. I don't think they'll give away too much because I think there's so much in the mystery that makes it frightening, and I think Russell probably knows that. So anyway, we'll see. Lucky Day is the Earth-based unit story.
Mm-hmm. It looks Doctor Light from what we can see. It seems like it's Ruby-led.
It looks Doctor Light. The promo, the title reveal, the clips we've seen, it looks like it's a bit of a kind of a Ruby-heavy story, a bit of a unit conspiracy story. We see a shot of, in the trailer, Kate Lethbridge Stewart moving down a dark corridor, looking into a room and being quite scared by what she sees.
I'd be excited from what I'm putting together from the trailers if Unit is always meant to be like the quote-unquote better version of like Torchwood.
Yes.
And I would like to see a world in which Unit have been like housing. They have corridors underneath this like really polished, shiny set of a Unit office. that they have cages where they're keeping creatures and monsters and stuff, because that then leads you to ask, like, a bit of Cabin in the Woods, what else is there? What other monsters are you housing? Who else is there?
Yeah. I like the Dark Unit story, that though Kate's done her very best to change it and make it kind of led by science, we're different now, Doctor, it's, that there is a dark underbelly. Yeah. That the Doctor isn't so aware of. So, like, for example, I think the time window, he was aware they were building it, right?
He was embarrassed at how bad the tech was.
But he'd never seen it. I think he was like, I've never got to see it up close.
He asked her, he was like, do you have a time window?
Yeah, and she was like, what do you mean? And he was like, but I think there's stuff they have.
It's like the Black Archive. That's what it's like.
I think there's a lot they have kept from him successfully. I think when they really
got to go to the Black Archive again, like a set that we went to in the previous era.
I'd love to. That'd be great. I mean, the Black Archive works very well. It's like a 50th fan service moment as well of just like...
It was also in the Zygon
we got pictures of Caroline Ford on the wall. Look at this. And it's like... I mean, also, where's Caroline Ford? She should be in this by now.
Oh my... Okay, right. Pause what we're doing now.
Pause this.
Bring Caroline Ford. She said before she wants to come back, and the way that I think you could do it is you have her come back in... part 1 of 2, towards the end of part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
Then you have her for the majority of part 2, and then at the end, she regenerates into a young... I always think of Lydia West in my head as who I want as Susan.
Regenerates into Varda.
Regenerates into somebody, and then you have young Susan, because obviously Caroline Ford isn't going to be doing TV forever. You can have her regenerate into a new version of Susan, then go forward, but you have the passing of the baton.
Yeah, I agree.
Bring her back.
I think she needs to be in it, absolutely.
Especially when they name dropped her so much last season, they made such a point of talking about my granddaughter.
Yes.
I don't know.
So we then have episode 5, the story in the engine. So
this one's really, really exciting. I'm very excited to see this one.
It looks fantastic. We think this one is set somewhere in Africa in the past, and we think this is one that involves a giant spider creature. And in the newer trailer, we see that creature getting
exploding, right?
blown up. And I was like, is that a spoiler?
Are we meant to see this?
There was a rumor that this is a character from folklore in West Africa, depicted as a trickster and a spider.
Trickster's Brigade. Ooh, no, I fell so hard into the last season into the trickster's come back.
The trickster's back! The trickster's back!
That I can't...
The trickster's daughter, Ruby Sunday.
If you can't bring me back the trickster, then please don't be my enemy. I just can't go through that again. I'm not going to allow myself to go through tricksters coming back again. Yeah. However, a bug that's a trickster sounds very trickster-esque.
Yes.
But yeah, this one really excites me because obviously Ncuti's the first full-time Black Doctor to have a writing team that can really bring experiences into this story. And like you said, pull from folklore and have a really unique story. I think that there's something so exciting there. And I think Doctor Who is at its best when it explores things outside of Wales and London.
100%.
It's so
100%.
Demons of the Punjab is such an incredible episode. And I feel like especially in Jodie's era, we explored what was the episode in Flux where they're in 3 different countries at once? Is it Survivors of the Flux? I think it's in Survivors of the Flux, that's one where Dan and Yaz have to live with Jericho for 3 years and they're traveling across the country. And I think when you bring Doctor Who, obviously it's like a universal show, it goes interplanetary, but when you explore Earth so much, I think you did it so well in Jodie's era, you can create some of the best stories. And so I'm very, very excited to see what this story has.
I am too. I think this could be a real banger.
Yeah.
Then we're on to...
The Interstellar Song Contest.
The Interstellar Song Contest, yes. So this one is written by Juno Dawson, and I'm a big fan of, I was going to say declassified. I don't mean that.
Redacted.
You can't read.
Do you know what? I never listened to season 2. I loved season 1 so much, but when I heard they changed the whole team, I didn't listen to it.
I didn't either.
But I loved season 1. I thought it was so good.
Yeah. Also, season 1 was just very good as a contained story.
Yeah.
And Jodie's inclusion was a gag.
I know, right?
I was like, oh shit, they found the Doctor.
Yeah, they did. I just love that they go back to Palace and then you find out that she's the babysitter for Rose. I thought that was such a cute little type. And then you have Vastra and you had Penny Carter in it. Do you remember from series 4? Penny, she's like, I'm gonna tell the news about you.
You're mad.
You're mad. Oh, you're mad.
You're mad. Yeah. So this one, I mean, it's Space Eurovision, right? This looks phenomenal.
And it's out on Eurovision Day.
Brilliant. I think this will be very camp. I think there's a lot of potential for great humor in this.
Yeah.
I wonder if Murray Gold has written another sing-along song for us.
Surely we're going to get a few songs.
We'll have to have a
There's
bit of
one
entry.
alien from this. They're white and have like sort of pink, cracky, stony effect.
Yeah.
And people are saying, I'm not going to know their name, but somebody listening will know. There's an alien Classic Who has the exact same makeup, and it looks kind of bad for Classic Who, but then when you see it in this context, it's exactly the same. So people are saying we're going to get like returning species from Classic Who as contestants in the song contest.
I really like that. I think we absolutely should bring them back.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this. Oh yeah, Freddie Fox is also the villain in this. We don't know what that means.
There's the cat that is such a carbon copy of Doja Cat with Ryland in the trailer.
Oh.
You know Doja Cat's like cat makeup that she does.
Oh, yeah.
It's so, if you look at them side by side, it's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Camp Silly Fun.
I think Camp Silly Fun. Ryland's inclusion looks really funny as well. I love in the trailer for this. It sounds slightly different in the German version and in like the English release version, where that singer you were just mentioning with the white skin and the crack bits is is singing, and it's like the Interstellar Song Contest, and she just goes like ah! And I don't know if it's like meant to be like a singing note, like a ah, but it just comes out as ah! And I maybe that's how that species sounds, and that's how they sing, and I guess that could be the gag. But
this is the thing, like we see some aliens, they're like, and get ready for their song, and it's like and it's just some alien nonsense.
Someone has been very observant and noticed that the guards who appear standing behind the release photo of Freddie Fox also appear in the promo material for Wish World.
Really?
So this might lead into, I'm just showing.
It could be like a Utopia thing.
It could be that this leads directly into
I would
Wish World.
like that, because one thing that I miss in an 8-episode format is having multiple two-parters, because I think so many Doctor Who stories you can't do in one part. So even if the Interstellar Song Contest is very much like its own contained episode, but then a little bit of it bleeds into the finale, I think that would be very nice.
So I'm very excited for that one. I think it's going to be fun. And then we're into the finale. So
Wish World.
Finale's where I get a bit nervous, because as before, really, we've only got 6 episodes to get us there.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a crunch.
It's going to get down to the wire.
We've got to fit a lot in. I'm really excited to see it. So Wish World, we've had some very cool visuals. I think this is the one where we see like Mel with like the purple sky behind her and the buildings collapsing. We see those big like skeleton creatures roaming around in the streets.
Yeah. Do you know what that kind of gave me? Is this the one where we have all the people in suits, or is that the next one, do we reckon?
I think it's this one.
Because it gave me a bit Wedding of River Song, like lots of different periods of history mashed together.
Yes,
I obviously don't know the context, but it's curious.
It's giving alternate reality for sure. It definitely is. So that's happening.
And then because it is so linked, we kind of have to go into the reality war.
The reality war. I mean, we also don't know exactly which clips are Wish World on the reality war. I'm going to assume that the reality war is a lot of reality bending.
I think that'd be the one where there's Mel and it looks like all of the world around her is like shifting and moving.
That one's?
I mean, again, who knows? They're one and the same, but I think that will be Mel. Do you know what we were talking about off camera? Is it will be interesting in the same way that they've done it in previous seasons, where they'll take like a really light link to Classic Who and then bring it into New Who. So like The Great Intelligence, for example. The Great Intelligence did feature in, I think, the second Doctor's era, and then they brought it back as like a full-time villain with the 11th Doctor. If they did that but with New Who, so say with the reality war, I think it'd be really fun to bring in something like the Scasis paradigm, where to new viewers, they can just reintroduce as a concept. You don't have to have seen School Reunion, but whatever. But then for returning viewers, you get that little payoff, because that is all about like shaping reality to whatever you want, and you know, you have the building blocks of the universe, is the way that Quillatane described it.
Also, if you can get human kids to do it with space oil, there must be someone else working on it, right?
Exactly. So I think that, I mean, I'm sure it won't be that. I think it'll be something to do with, you know, Wish World leads me into being the whole Mrs. Flood is the god of stories kind of theory.
And whose wish?
Whose wishes are we seeing? But I think it could be something to do with like temptation, where like they're tempting, you know, Mel, and they're saying like, you know, with where my thought process went with the Scasis paradigm is that bit with the Quillatane is like, and you, Sarah Jane, you can travel with the Doctor forever and be young, and
always be
beautiful,
young.
And
Doctor, you can stop the war. And you can save everyone.
I can see that being like, well, what's your wish? What do you wish? You can shape reality. I don't think it will be a Scasis paradigm. There's nothing official that would lead us to believe. I haven't even heard anyone leak anything about it, but I just think that'll be a fun callback, and it would make sense in the story. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that too. I feel like when you think about it as 8 weeks of Who, it sounds like, oh my God, so much fun, like 2 months of Who Mania, but
it's 7 stories.
7 stories. It's going to go by pretty fast.
What do you think, and this is just our hypothesis, what do you think will happen after this series is finished?
Cancelled.
Chop!
No, listen. What do I think? I think
we're definitely getting a spin-off.
Oh, we're getting a spin-off as well. Like, yes, good to remember this. When there were these stories floating around a few months ago about, I think it was The Sun that was pushing it, a super reliable source, and they were like,
Shooty's leaving!
Shooty's gone, the show's cancelled, Disney's got cold feet, and Doctor Who's done. And the BBC came back and they were like, actually, no, that's not the case. Disney always make their commissioning decisions at the end of the series after it's gone out.
They normally wouldn't leave it that long if they knew they were going to renew, I think.
I wouldn't see why they would allow...
What have to benefit?
There's such a big gap now in production that's been caused, because if they can't start production on Series 3, and Shooty had said in a Graham Norton interview that was cut out, we should be filming Season 3 next year, and then they removed it in the edit.
Well, this is the thing. They clearly have plans to make... Like, Russell says... And again, faulty, like, we run a Doctor Who podcast, haha, we don't know anything.
No, we don't
This
know.
is all just coming from us. Shooty clearly is under an impression that there is meant to be a Series 3.
Yeah.
Russell has been clear about the fact that he wants a Season 3. So it sounds like all the cards are with Disney and it's dependent on what they want.
And it sounds like also the BBC are always on board with making another show. So it sounds like... The most recent interview that I saw, which was at the Doctor Who premiere, he was asked this question about renewal and he was like, I've been asked this a million times. I've been very clear. The decision isn't with me. And he said, and it's not with the partners we work with at Disney, like the people who work on it creatively. He was like, people off in a big office somewhere will make that decision. So it sounded like there's a whole different team over at Disney who crunch the numbers.
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger will decide.
That's weird that Bob Iger might actually be the one to decide if Doctor Who gets... The fact that we are hanging on the words of Bob Iger is quite possible.
I doubt he's in the weeds of the detail. I imagine he's got like there's something in the bottom of his inbox that he's barely even looked at, which is like, oh, we're recommending we recommission these for the next year or something. So I mean, I think that's probably where they are. I think right now what the BBC is probably doing is laying out all these different options where they're saying like, here's the version where we look for a new partner and a new distributor and a new co-production partner, because they were looking for one anyway. They brought on Russell to find a new production partner. So
they always said they wanted to find a streamer.
I would be surprised if they were like, oh well, like we won't do that anymore. I guess that didn't work for us. Like I imagine they were
going to end up on Amazon.
Yay! It's Doctor Who on Prime. Like, that's somehow worse. Like, okay. So anyway,
Doctor Who on Tubi.
Doctor Who on Hey You.
Doctor Who on Freevee. Doctor Who on Max.
I think, you know what? That's okay.
Okay.
HBO Who? I think HBO makes some sense because the Bad Wolf has worked with HBO to produce HBO content.
Yeah, no, that's true. And they've also done shows like what's the one with the robots? Westworld.
They've done Westworld.
That got cancelled.
But then I don't know what happens to like all the content they've already put on Disney Plus. Does that stay Disney content now?
Well, it's a weird one because Netflix made loads of original Marvel shows, and then after a while, once Disney had the Marvel brand, they all got sold to Disney. And now they're not on Netflix, but they are on Disney.
So would like the new streamer have to come buy the content off Disney? You know?
I'm not a scientist.
It's a right. Anyway,
I don't know.
So I think there's the option they go for a new partner. There's the option say, right, either we can't do that right now, or actually we got burnt by having a partner, we're not going to do that anymore, we're going to do it ourselves, and they just go for the BBC Studios route. Reduced budget, maybe it hasn't been commissioned this year, maybe there's a certain cycle that things get commissioned within.
Do you know what I didn't realise is we've never had a year since Doctor Who came back in 2005 with no Doctor episodes. Every single year has had at least one Doctor episode. There's been 2 years that have only had one was 2016 and we had the return of Dr. Mysterio.
Oh yeah. Rough.
But we also had Class in that season,
Rough.
in that year.
Yeah.
Then you have 2019 and you had Resolution. And that was the only one you got that year.
Yeah.
So there have been a couple of years we had one episode, but we have always had at least one episode.
Which is, by the way, remarkable that during COVID, they kept producing Doctor Who in the way that they did.
People were arguing about Flux being good or bad, and that's by the by. We had a whole mini-series of Doctor Who within like the heat of the pandemic.
Yeah. I think when you actually remember like how restrictive the rules were as well for production.
I think back to it, like I remember being in my office in 2020 and we had to have all of our tables 2 meters apart from each other, and I have a photo of me with a mask and a head visor on at my desk, which is 2 meters away from anyone else.
I'm not even like laughing in that. I think it was like,
it's just
why
mad
did
to
we do
think
that?
about.
But the situation we were in was It was crazy. So I think there's a BBC Studios version of it as well that they probably, and I think when Russell says, we've got different plans in the works, I think this is what they mean. I think they probably got an idea of these are the stories we want to do, and this is how those stories have to change and how the budgets have to change based on who we run it with. This is the amount we want from the BBC. Here's the amount we want from a partner. Here's what we do with Disney if we can do it again with them. And I think all those options, either they're still on the table and they really don't know and they won't know until somewhere during the season or after.
Yeah.
Or they pull a blinder and all of this is just to create conversation around the show. I think that's an insane theory and they wouldn't do it because it's so risky and it throws so much doubt on the success of the show.
It is so risky, but how cool would it be at the end of the credits for Reality War to say Doctor Who will return at Christmas?
I mean, what a big gag.
It would be such a gag.
I'd stand up and clap. I'd salute.
I'd thank the pilot.
I'd clap. I don't think it'll happen because I don't know how they'll have produced a Christmas episode. You know what?
Well, no, The Runaway Bride was filmed in July and aired in December.
The Runaway Bride. How much VFX is in that compared to now?
Well, compared to now, yeah, but you have the web star, you have the little hole into the end of however, you have the big
little
spider.
hole into the end of whatever.
There you go.
You got to think about that.
They had the TARDIS flying around the creation of the universe.
They did, and the motorway scene. And
you have the TARDIS like zoom.
You know what? R.I.P. the Mill, because the Mill could have handled this.
The Mill could have handled this.
That
was awful. That was really bad.
Why don't we just say, like, you know what? Whack out the. You know what I'd love? Whack out the standard definition cameras. Same ones. The same ones. Like, they're probably not even working anymore. The battery lasts 20 minutes. Get them out. Get the Mill back. Do the same VFX style. Like, make it 2008.
Make it set in 2006, but produce like an episode from 2006.
Oh my God.
With the budget from 2006.
We are so nostalgia brained to think that would be good. We're mad. But anyway, that'd be so much fun. I really don't know. I think the other likely thing is they've got the War Between the Land and the Sea in their back pocket.
Yes.
That's coming.
We have Doctor Who content next year. Like, people are like, oh my God, what's happened to Doctor Who? What's up to? We are guaranteed to have a full season of a Doctor Who show next year.
I keep forgetting the War Between the Land and the Sea is happening because I was like,
they've also not guaranteed the air date. I think it is going to be next year.
Well, this is what I would say. I think there was probably a version where they were like looking to have season 3 come out in 2026 and then they could have slotted in the War Between the Land and the Sea in the autumn.
Yeah.
Now, if there's going to be a production gap, I think they would like to put it into 2026, and then you can claim no gap years.
Well, this is the thing, because say Doctor Who does get renewed, you can put that at the beginning of the year as the Doctor Who series. When you commission the 3rd series, you film a Christmas special within that block. You air that Christmas special, Christmas 2026. We still don't have a gap of Doctor Who, and then you have season 3 in 2027. Realistically, if it's getting renewed, that's what will happen.
Yeah. But I would imagine the scripts are in a really good place and that a lot of that groundwork's happened.
Russell has said already, he was like, it's our job to come up with plans. Like, he will have a plan for...
It's literally my job.
It's literally my job. If Doctor Who gets renewed and they want a Christmas special this year, he'll have a plan. If they want a season in 2 years, they'll have a plan. Like, Doctor Who episodes for the future have been written. It's just up to someone in an office.
Doctor Who's here to stay. It's a question of how long until we get it. And it's then a question of what budget's it on. But again, I think back to the quality of The Power of the Doctor, the quality of a lot of Jodie's era.
And that was all through BBC Studios.
All through BBC Studios and all of Doctor Who since 2005. You know, relevant as well, like in the context of when it was on TV as well. You know? So we're not expecting it to look like.
And we can promise one thing. If Doctor Who's not on TV, Wholala will be here.
Wholala will probably still be here. Probably still be here.
Wow, one of us sounded a lot more confident than the other. No, okay.
Wholala will be here. We will be on iPlayer every week.
We'll be the ones watching it.
Dredging up some more content. And we'll be commenting on that.
I can't wait.
So, anyway, a lot to be excited for. I think it's going to be a great season, a great 8 weeks. I'm ready to be completely burnt out by this thing.
I can't wait.
We've got a Gallifrey Cabaret next week.
Yes. Very exciting as well. I think we can say we will be having the Gallifrey Cabaret with us on the pod very soon.
Yes, they'll be singing and dancing for us in full drag and performing a show right here on the sofa.
So look forward to that.
Look forward to that. And they've promised us both a place in the show.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna be in the show. We actually, for legal reasons, we're not.
We're not. I was going to say, like, just really quickly clarify.
That's not true.
Not happening. For the benefit of everyone, we're not in the show.
But I will tell you what is true. We'll be looking back on every single episode of season 2 as it comes out every week in Wholala, starting next week with the Robot Revolution.
Yeah, we'll be filming some bits as well, so you can see our lovely faces. We had to look back the other day and we were like, we're not on the Instagram.
We would like to be on our own
We're making
socials.
all this lovely content, and we were like, oh, we're not in this.
We're not in it. So
we're not
you're going to be seeing a lot more of us over the coming weeks.
It's just memes. So yeah, you'll see a lot of us. Here we go.
Here we go, baby. Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Wholala. As always, you can go on our socials at HolalaPod everywhere. That is X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. We're also on YouTube at HolalaPod, where you can watch old episodes of the podcast.
I love how rehearsed you have that down to a T.
It is to my brain. Let's see how you do.
And if you enjoy the episode, you can rate it 5 stars. You can follow us to get notified when new episodes of the podcast drop. You can buy us a coffee, ko-fi coffee, and get more video content like this. You can also share the episode with someone who you think will enjoy it. You can put it on your story. And there's another call to action, or I might have hallucinated that.
Leave a review.
Leave a review. Like, as well as rating 5 stars, like, write something. Just say, like, oh,
it doesn't have to be nice. I'd like it to be, but...
Ugly guys...
Period.
And that's on period.
And on that note, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week for the Robot Revolution.
Yes, we'll see you for the Robot Revolution. Goodbye.
Goodbye.